Hi, my name is Mel, and what I wanted to discuss today, and something that's very important, is how to stay safe online. Okay, because I think we've become all very aware of the risk, increasing number of fraud, of cybercrime, of scams, of everything like that. I think we've all become very aware that this, unfortunately, this is increasing very much over time. Okay, so one of the core safety practices you can do is to use strong, unique passphrases, or instead of short passwords, create long passphrases like random words or lyrics. Add numbers and symbols and never reuse across accounts. Okay, if you're going to use a password, use a 12-digit password and have alphanumeric and special characters in there. Okay, and use a password manager if you can't remember it. Enable what's called multi-factor authentication, or 2FA. So this could be getting a one-time code on your mobile phone, through email, putting a fingerprint on your mobile phone or say tablet. So it's a way of backing up, like it's verified through password or passphrase and another method. So 2-factor or multi-factor, okay? And it's very important that you get every company you deal with, especially financial or pretty much anything, to have 2-factor authentication of you. Okay, because this adds a second layer of protection. Try and keep your software updated if you can. So, like with pretty much all of your software, it will need to be regularly updated. Okay, so like Windows does it automatically, Mac does it fairly automatically. Other types like Linux, you probably will have to update it manually. But making sure that you regularly update your operating system, any browsers like your web, Edge or Chrome or Firefox, Safari, whatever you use, Brave, you do patch vulnerabilities. And with your web browsers, to please install extensions that allow to scan for unsafe sites. Like Edge will do that, Chrome does it, I know Firefox does it, and so should the others. Okay, secure your internet connection. Avoid sensitive tasks on public Wi-Fi. Look, I would not be doing anything on a public Wi-Fi, like in a cafe or anywhere that's got a public Wi-Fi, that sharing out any information, especially not work, even if it's not sensitive. I just wouldn't be doing it, because that can be easily intercepted. All right, so your Wi-Fi at home, make sure your routers and modems have got complex passwords. If you must use a public Wi-Fi, use a VPN to encrypt your data. Okay, so VPN just means a virtual private network. Windscribe is a free option, but doesn't give you a lot of stuff. There's NordVPN, there's OpenVPN, there's different ones. So look up what's going to suit you and your budget and your situation. But I would really suggest using a VPN. Okay, so recognize and avoid threats. So phishing scams, do not click any links in emails or texts, like a SMS text or anything else, from unknown senders. And even if you do know them, triple check, always check to make sure. If unsure, search the message text online to see if it's been reported as a scam. Okay, also if unsure, ring the person responsible, ring the person, say if it's your son or daughter or whoever, ring them up. And be very aware that there's also phishing, voice or video phishing, that people can get a call from what they think is their child, or from someone, needing money. Always ring them back on a number that you know is theirs, or if you can't get a hold of them, get the police to do a welfare check. And if you're in a company, like even if it's within a company and you're working, don't just assume. Ring up the IT people and say, hey, look, I got this message. I'm not sure if I should be trusting it. Okay, so that's saying fake websites. Check URLs, which is Uniform Resource Locator. So check the actual address, Look for HTTPS, and that's Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Okay, you always want the S. Don't just look at HTTP. Beware of misspellings or odd domains. All right, that's something very careful. Social engineering. Be cautious of messages that pressure you to act quickly or share personal details. Anyone who does that can't be good, usually. All right? Cyberbullying or harassment. Do not respond to abusive messages. Block and report instead. Okay, and look, honestly, a lot of social media these days do not do a very good job. So, Australia's made it illegal for kids under the age of 16 to use social media. I would prefer that if we held social media companies held up to a really good standard, like we legislate the social media companies. And like cyberbullying or any kind of bullying is not on, and any kind of harassment is not on. And so look, you need to decide, like, if like in Australia, your child shouldn't be using cyber, like they might be getting messages in class or something if they're using something to do with class. Or so you report it to the school immediately, all right? Cyberbullying or any kind of bullying or harassment is never okay. It is never okay to do, and it's never okay to be the victim of it. It doesn't make you weak. It just really can hurt people. Block and report. So in some cases, if it's very threatening, I would report it to the police or Australian Federal Police. If it looks like it's some kind of crime, I would report it to the police. Okay, so yeah. Also, protect your privacy. Be very careful about what you share online. Limit any personal info. And I will say this over and over again. Please do not put photos of your children up on the internet, especially not wearing school jumpers that say where they go to school or any identifying information. Children need to be kept private, and people, look, most of the time will be good, but there's a lot of unfortunate, not very good people out there. Do not put out any information about where you live, who you live with, what state you live in, your phone number or anything like that, okay? Don't post address, phone numbers or financial details publicly ever. Do not put pictures of your kids. Do not put any pictures that could show you where you live or anything like that. Check your privacy settings. Make accounts private where possible, and review what any apps can access. All right? Think before posting. Okay? Apply the think model. So this is the thing. True. So what you're posting true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So that's the think. True, helpful, inspiring, necessary, kind. Okay, don't denigrate people online. If you were going to disagree with what someone said, disagree with the opinion. You don't have to be rude or dismissive. You can say, okay, that's an interesting opinion. I don't agree with that, and this is why. Or maybe you could think about this. And if they say, oh no, I don't want to do that, that is their right, and it's your right to not to agree with them. Okay? So that's something. Get consent before sharing. Respecting other people's privacy when posting photos or information about them. Yes, please do that. And in fact, that should be compulsory, really. everyday habits, what you can do. Not all online content is trustworthy, so you're going to have to apply some critical thinking. Question sources and verify information before acting. So you could think about anything that's from .edu might be a bit more reliable. Anything from a government hopefully is a bit more reliable, but if one source says something, check 2 or 3 or 4 other sources, all right? Because a lot of news really blow things up to try and get clicks, to try and get people driven, and what they say isn't generally what's really happened, okay? Safe downloads. Only install apps or software from official stores or trusted sites. Yes, otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of malware. Friend wisely. So only connect with people you know in real life. Online identities can and are faked, and I think we all know that, okay? And look, if you find people acting in ways that are, not very good, report them and then unfriend them, block them, whatever you do. You do not need to take anything from anyone. Avoid meeting online strangers. Keep online friendships online unless safety is guaranteed. So if you are going to meet someone from online, I would suggest like a shopping centre food court where there are a lot of people around, right? I would suggest like a very public place. Just be very, very careful, because unfortunately there are a lot of people out there who do not mean well. So look, there's a lot of things you can do, and I just wanted to go through sort of like the basics for everyone. All right, and if you're a parent of children, he might need to use the internet for, say, school or something like that. They can't be on social media like in Australia, but if they in other countries other than here, then you should be watching what they do, not because you don't trust them, but you don't trust anybody else. And like if they're doing anything online, you can get kids, they have to, like using the computer in the kitchen while you're doing whatever. All right, and you can help them then, or they can be in the lounge room, you can help them then. And also too, like if it turns out they're abusing privilege of using the computer, then they don't get to use it. That's simple. All right, so look, this is just a quick one, but that's my take on that. Thanks.